Hello and welcome to Pitt Resource Connection. I'm Mary Smith, your host, and we're now talking with Sandra Spencer, who is the CEO of the Mediation Center of Eastern North Carolina.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, you know, the Mediation Center's been around for a little while. How long has it been in Pitt County now?
28 years. We started in 1989.
There you go. So you've been doing a lot of mediation, haven't you?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Well, tell us about the center and the kinds of things that you do there.
Okay, well, the Mediation Center, we basically started doing court mediations for many counties here in Eastern North Carolina. We have 5 offices. They're in Rocky Mount, Wilson, New Bern, Kenansville, and Greenville is the main office. And so we do court and community mediations. We also do programs like Teen Court, which a lot of people have heard about. We help young people who've committed a minor crime, and they come through Teen Court and they're judged by their peers. We have a Girls Empowered program to help young ladies in middle and high school build their self-esteem, keep them out of relationship that may be violent and things like that. And so we do kind of a number of things in the Mediation Center.
So you've started a new program, though, that has caught the attention of a lot of people. Tell us about the anger management.
So we have an anger management skills development program, and this anger management program is evidence-based and is court approved. So most of the people we get right now are court ordered to do anger management classes, and so we get them from judges or district attorneys. But we also do anger management classes for people who just really feel like they need to get a handle on their anger, so people kind of come to us when those situations arise. We also have the school system who send young people to us who may have had conflicts in school, getting in several fights, and then they send them to kind of help us to show them ways to really manage their anger, to do better in communication, and to do better about telling someone when something is happening to them.
So the kinds of, when you talk about anger management, people maybe like neighbors that are constantly at each other's throats, that, or you know, you can't control your anger. Every time something happens, you fly off the handle. Those
Right.
kind of things.
Yes, it's those kinds of things. Also, though, there are people who don't let their anger out, who suppress their anger, and then that leads them to depression and to other ailments. And so we also teach people the proper way to express your anger, because we know that when people hold it in, it causes physical ailments, and then sometimes it causes them to explode all at one time because they've held it in so long. So it's not just for the people who kind of show their anger all the time, but it's also for people who seem to suppress it. So we teach you how to deal with your anger, how to express it appropriately, and then how to let it go.
Maybe I need some of that.
We all do. We all do.
Yeah. So how long are these anger management classes? How long do they go?
Well, we have a 12-week curriculum.
Okay.
But everybody doesn't take the 12 weeks, and everybody doesn't need the 12 weeks. And so we have an assessment that we do at the beginning of the class, and then we kind of can recommend the number of hours people need to take and what subjects that they need to study. So we really tailor it, and a lot of times the judges or employers will recommend depending on the severity of their outbreak. So sometimes we get a referral from the courts and say this person needs 8 hours of anger management classes, something like that.
How would they know what number of hours is needed?
Well, a lot of times in the court system, you know, they have certain, like the way they determine community service hours and things like that. They just look at the severity of the incidents, how many times it occurred, and then they kind of calculate if they've had prior incidences. And so a lot of times on a first offense, if a person doesn't have a habit, they may give them 5 or 6 hours. But if it's repetitive, we've had up to 12 and sometimes even 24 hours. Sometimes they make them go through the whole 12-week course more than once.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a serious anger problem.
That's a serious anger problem.
I would think so. Yeah. Okay. And so, do you have a way of measuring this at the end of the class? You know, how successful you've been?
Yeah. So we do a pre and a post test for people, and what we're looking for is to see if they have developed new skills and information that will help them combat their anger. We teach them to identify what their triggers may be, and then come up with solutions for how they can avoid getting in certain situations, or how they can really manage and be aware of themselves so they can see when they're escalating and what to do about it.
Okay. So is there a cost to this?
Yes, our anger management classes do cost. They cost about $20 per class, and then there's a workbook. So depending on how many courses you take, and then there's a special fee for youth under 18. So
Okay.
we kind of do a discounted rate for them.
Okay. And so are they all in the same class, or is this individual training?
No, no, no. So there are individual anger management classes, and they are a little more costly. And then we do group sessions, but when we do group sessions, we do separate young people from adults.
Okay.
And so usually if they're middle and high school, we can do them together, but anything post-high school, go into the adult classes.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier your court mediation. What is that, and community-based? I think you said community mediation programs.
Okay, so we know about those that the court orders to anger management. And so what happens often too is that community people have issues. For example, a landlord and tenant. There may be some disputes there, and instead of taking it to court, they may decide to come to mediation. We get a lot of things with neighbors fighting about noise, or a pet that's become a nuisance, or I think the greatest one is family disputes around property when they lost a loved one, or things like that in the family where they're just having large disputes. And so people just tend to want to come to mediation where they can get a neutral party, and then they can come out with an agreement that both parties sign, and then they have something to follow up on.
Does that stand up in court?
If it's a court-ordered mediation, then the agreement does. They can take it back to the judge, and then if it was a court case and they have signed the agreement, the judge will dismiss the case.
Okay.
So if, say, one party doesn't follow through, then that goes back to court. It doesn't come back to mediation. So if they breach the contract that they agreed on in mediation, they can opt to go back to court.
Okay. And how long does this typically take? I mean, obviously you'd have to have both parties willing to come in to do a mediation.
Exactly. So yeah, that's one point. If both parties don't agree, we can't do mediation. We mediate for about an hour to 90 minutes. And it depends on the party and how big the party is. Sometimes we may be mediating between 2 or 3 organizations that had maybe a memorandum of understanding and things went wrong. So that may be a larger group and it may take more time. Or sometimes there's a family of about 12 people who are all disputing. And so it depends on the subject, the amount of people in the party, as to how long it takes.
Okay. And is there a fee for all of these services?
Usually mediations run about $60 an hour. And we usually can do it within that hour or a little over. And it really saves a lot because there's new statutes out telling judges and district attorneys if it's cases that they think can be solved through mediation, that to send them to mediation first. And so they figure it's a time saver for our judicial system, but it's a cost savings for everybody. I mean, you're not paying court costs and attorney fees and all those things. You're paying one flat fee to us most of the time to help resolve that conflict.
Yeah, and you're not kidding about attorney fees.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
They can start mounting up for just a letter.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So the community mediations is usually neighbors and dogs and noises and kids, or, you know.
Yeah, all kinds of things, especially with families too. We kind of help them work out visitation rights if they've gone through a separation or divorce. And those kind of things, again, it saves money from having to go through an attorney. So if it's something like that, people think that they can work out with a neutral party, they come to mediation first.
Okay, and so they don't have to have been in court.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so if somebody's listening to this and they heard something that they would like to get involved with or mediate, they could just call your office?
They call our office, and we have trained mediators, so they would call the office and ask to speak to someone who could help them arrange a mediation.
Okay, so you don't do it over the phone?
No, we don't do it on the phone.
Okay.
It's face-to-face, and we do it in all of our offices around Eastern North Carolina.
Okay, so they have to call for an appointment and get all the parties involved
To agree to do it.
to agree to do
Right.
it on what date and that sort
Exactly.
of thing. Okay. In the training and facilitation for organizations, so tell me about, what do you do with organizations?
Well, we do regular trainings periodically in our office about resolving workplace conflicts. People who work in human services sometimes have clients that may get angry, may get upset. And then sometimes organizations just have cultural issues and disputes among coworkers. So one of the things we do is we will go to your organization and do a training tailored to your needs around solving conflicts in the workplace, or creating better procedures and policies around how to handle certain issues. Or we also help workers plan a safety plan for if they have clients that may get aggressive, that may get angry. And this is a lot of times we do for our social workers, even our school teachers, people who are kind of on the front line, helping people who are already hurt or disadvantaged in some way, and that they really tend to get angry with the system. So we do those kind of trainings within an organization. And then with our facilitation, a lot of times organizations want us to come in and do a strategic plan with them around many issues, communication protocol, what's the best way to document incidents that may happen within the organization. So it's a multiplicity of topics, and we will go in and we will do a facilitation. We will talk with leaders and members first to see what your issues are, and then we will tailor that to your organizational needs.
Don't you all do something with bullying? Or I know you did. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
So we work a lot with Pitt County schools. We do anti-bullying programs with almost every school in Pitt County. Along with that, we do something called Keeping Peace in School. So we don't focus on the bullying. We focus on communication skills, resolving conflicts peacefully. We focus on building self-esteem in our kids and things like that. And we also talk with teachers and school counselors about having that atmosphere in the school that promotes kindness, that promotes collaboration. And so we found out that that's been really helpful because bullying has become a major issue within our school system. And now we also do workplace bullying because we realize that a lot of employers and employees experience that in the workplace. And then it's the social media.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, we could go on and on about that. People have really started to use social media as a way to voice their opinion, but then they kind of take it too far where they go to cyberbullying and intimidating people and causing fear in many people. So we really do a lot of that, and we can do that, like I say, for the school systems. We do it in community organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, and then we also do it for businesses and corporations who have had several complaints to their human services department about a supervisor or boss who may be bullying their employees.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, I hope I don't need one in my office.
Exactly.
I haven't seen anybody bullying, but they better not.
They better not. Exactly right.
But you've got a website.
Yes, we do.
And it's on the screen, I think. They can go up there and they can find out about all the different programs that you have.
Yes.
First step of wanting to get involved with the Mediation Center is just make a phone call.
Make a phone call.
And then have the willingness to come together to try to resolve the conflict.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So you're there Monday through Friday, I take it?
Monday through Friday, 8:30 till 5 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
for having
in.
me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and we appreciate your work in mediation. It does help a lot of people resolve the problems that they're going through and make their lives happier.
It does. Absolutely.
So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you all for watching the Pitt Resource Connection.